I got up bright and early this morning to try and get a few things done before it got too hot. This week I've been doing tons of planning, and it looks like next week we are going to have so many things happening at once. Today might be the perfect day to take a little bit of a break. The 2 raised beds I built last week seem to be working out pretty good. The one that I chaos planted with all kinds of different things seems to be seeding up quite nicely. I'll be really interested to see what actually wants to grow in here. Having the garden has been the perfect way for me to go around and gather my thoughts for the day and make a plan. This upcoming week we're getting our well drilled, I'm having some footing dropped off, and I'm renting a skid steer to do a lot of cleanup. Once the well is in, I can finally start building the horses' permanent pens. Hello. Pam, where's Brucey? I was out a little bit early this morning, and it looks like Bruce is still snoozing. Brucey, you still sleeping? Hey, Bruce. The horses didn't seem ready to see me early this morning, but Tiny and Ivar are always up at the crack of dawn. They get their first breakfast before I ever come out to feed the horses, and then by the time I'm out here divvying up all of the hay piles, they are ready for their second breakfast. Ivar. It's not too bad feeding all of the horses right now. They're a little bit spread out, but for the most part, it doesn't take me too long to get them fed. Goose and Whiplash have been in their own personal pen, and they seem to get along pretty well out here. It ends up being the perfect spot because it has shade all morning from the old homestead building, and then in the afternoon it has it from the big willow trees that are on the opposite side of their pen. These boys are getting a little stir crazy because they haven't been turned out in a while. They had been grazing on the yard, but it's just not growing fast enough for them to have anything to eat. I have a little bit more temporary fencing to put up over in their new pasture. When the skid steer comes next week, they'll be moved over and I will scrape out their pen. This dry lot does have a ton of shade, but the other one has quite a bit as well, so they can stay over there while I'm revamping their dry lot area over here. In between their morning meals, Tiny and Ivar like to come over and get a little catnip snack. Ivar loves to sneak around behind Tiny and trying to pounce on her, but Tiny is not too interested in his games these days. She still does a pretty serious amount of supervising me throughout the morning. We did have the driller come out a few weeks ago and they let us know where the well was probably going to be drilled. I am going to have to move around a few of the horses. I decided that even though they're going to be relatively close to all of the things that are going on, Prim and Bruce are going to stay in this little pen. I am going to have to move Nigel and Sparkler, however. Sparkler is going to go up on the arena, and then I haven't decided yet where Nigel's going to go. I want to make sure he's in a spot where he can see a bunch of the other horses so he doesn't get too stressed. They do use a lot of water when they are drilling the actual well, and the ditch that it's going to be running through is basically right through Nigel's pen. I also think it's probably going to be too much for him to be exposed to all of the noise that's going to happen when they are drilling. I'm trying to take it easy today, but I might move a few little things around so I have a jump start. Bruce has been getting so good at allowing me to brush him and pick up his feet on his little mat. Today he does seem a little bit on the sassy side. Typically I do get to him after I finish all of the chores, and this morning he wanted to hang out before that. I've been trying harder and harder to groom him at a normal horse speed, and it's a little bit too stimulating for him still. For some reason today he was really a bit more nippy than he has been the last couple of days. Tomorrow he will officially be 2 months old, so it's not a big deal that he's having trouble focusing today. He's basically had all of his baby handling at Liberty, and this is a really good start. I've noticed just over the last couple of days his coat has also gotten really dark. He has a few spots where his baby coat is completely shed out on his chest and neck. Last video he was a little bit butt high, and now he's definitely starting to even out in the front. His legs look so much better since I've held back Prim's feed a little bit. I fed the very last of the alfalfa hay I had a few days ago, so now all of the horses are getting an orchard grass alfalfa mix. Prim is still getting the growth feed, but instead of 9 or 10 pounds, she's only getting about 3 pounds. She's being supplemented with a vitamin and mineral balancer, so she's getting everything she needs to provide the perfect milk for Bruce. Both of them are eating the hay, and it won't be long until Bruce is getting his own little ration. Typically, most people start creep feeding their foals at 2 to 3 months old. That is naturally around the time that the quality of milk from the mare drops down. They have special feeders you can buy that only allows the foal to eat. I'm thinking that I might just make Bruce his own little feeding station inside the shed that Nigel was using. I think all I'll have to do is make a little door that only Bruce can fit in, and then he can have his own tiny little stall with special snacks in it. He's brave enough away from Prim that I think he'll walk right in if he has his own special feed. He is certainly getting a lot darker through his back and on his neck.
Let's see your face.
He's really shedding out around his eyes and his muzzle.
Eating dirt.
There's definitely something in the ground out here that they are very interested in eating. Pretty much all day I see Prim and Bruce pawing at the dirt over here. They have a giant regular salt block, and then they have a special mineral block. I'm not sure if they're eating the roots that are in the ground, but you can see that they've made themselves a pretty deep sand bed over here. It is now Bruce's favorite spot to take a nap during the day.
No biting. Got a lot of sass today, mister.
I think I may have worked Bruce a little bit too early this morning because he was a bit too feisty. It's been really fun to see Scarlett warm up to Bruce lately. Since their stall is right next to the dry lot, they can interact pretty freely anytime throughout the day that they wish. Prim and Scarlett do groom each other over the panels, and Bruce pesters Scarlett pretty much all day long if she's over by the stall. With the new well in, I'll have the opportunity to run some pipes and put up some frost-free hydrants out to where I'm going to be placing the permanent horse pens. I've been going back and forth about where exactly that location is going to be. I would love to get him out on top of this really high spot. It's got a great view and then it kind of slopes down towards these rocks. It would be the perfect place to hide some shelters from the wind. Since on a normal year it does get quite cold out here, we are going to have to bury the water lines about 3 feet, which could be tricky with so many rocks. While it's been really fun to try and lay things out, I do get a little bit discouraged because it could take a lot longer depending on where the rocks are and if we have to dig them out. Ideally, when we lay the water lines down, we'll also run electricity with them so we can put tank heaters in all of the waters. It's the one thing that I've put aside a pretty big chunk of change for because it's going to make all of the chores I do take so much less time. Right now I'm using our irrigation water to water most of the horses, and that requires moving hoses around multiple times a day. I would much rather fill that time with something fun.
Tiny. Hey, Tiny.
The area that we are probably going to drill is going to be very close to the hugelkultur beds I put up when we first moved in. I'll be a little bit bummed if I have to move this whole bed because it is really looking good right now. The cover crop I put down of these feed oats is basically done growing and it's time to terminate this grass. My plan was to just cover it up with more dirt and plant something on top of it again. Since this area is going to be where they're drilling, it is a little bit too close for Nigel. He might be okay, but it's a pretty big rig that has to get in here, and then they're going to have to dig up so the water can go into the house. If I have to move Prim and Bruce, I'll just scooch them farther away from all the activities with their panels. Prim has seen a lot of different scary things, so I don't think she's going to get too upset about it, but it'll be easy to move them if I need to.
Crazy dog. Hey. Nigel.
I do have a few more details to iron out, and since I'm supposed to be taking it easy today, it might be the perfect time to spend in the garden.
Come on, Uncle Baby. No, we got work to do, buddy. Oh shoot, we forgot the plants. We forgot the plants. Let's go get them.
On my last trip into town, I found some marigolds that were only 75 cents. I tried to plant some from seed, but I haven't seen any pop up in the new bed, so I'm just gonna plant these out today. I also got a few packages in the mail with some seeds in them, which is very quickly becoming my most favorite thing to get from you guys. The beds are pretty filled, but I am going to sneak in some pumpkin seeds and then some bean seeds today. My tomatoes have been getting pretty crispy out in the sun, and I'm not sure they're gonna survive the really hot weather we have coming up. Tiny usually likes to supervise the morning garden chores, but Ivar is out here pretty much all day long making sure nothing comes past his fence. I was a little bit worried about the prairie dogs wandering over here, but Ivar and Huckleberry basically sit out here all day long watching and making sure their garden doesn't get any intruders in it. I do have space to build one more garden bed, but I think I'm going to leave it until the fall planting. I'm starting to realize that here in the desert there are two very distinct planting seasons. I feel like I was a little bit late for spring planting, and if I switch it up now, I'm going to be too early for the fall stuff. It's probably going to take me a year or two to figure out what grows best when here. But I think for my very first big garden, it is not looking too shabby. I've got a few days before I need to move the horses, but Sparkler really does like spending time up on the arena. The horses on the neighbor's property are all mares, and she really enjoys their company. Because for the last 2 months, I've been pretty occupied with Bruce and getting him set up for his future. I haven't been doing too terribly much with Sparkler. She, of course, is still getting handling, but as far as a specific training schedule, I wanted to make sure she had a break. She is still very much on a diet, but since she has had limited turnout with all of the wildfire smoke the last couple of days, today she has a lot of extra energy. I don't know why, but up on this arena I've been seeing a few gigantic horseflies, so I wanted to get some fly spray on her.
All right.
I think she was pretty excited to be able to stretch her legs today and run around a little bit. It's still so crazy how much her color has changed since I picked her up. I wasn't expecting her to get so much white on her so quickly. I've never owned a varnish roan Appaloosa before, but I am familiar with how a red roan changes over time. It looks like Sparkler is going to get a lot more white hairs more quickly than I'm used to. Even though I haven't been doing a ton of training with her, she has not regressed hardly at all. Maybe initially when I go to catch her, she's a little bit more reactive, but for the most part, she has retained everything that I've taught her. Sometimes Mustangs are not this way, and if you don't handle them regularly, they can really slip back into a feral state. Sparkler seems to be the kind of Mustang that really enjoys all of the benefits that come along with being domesticated. She just turned 2 a few days after Bruce was born, so there's really no hurry to start her under saddle. Even though I won't be riding her, there are tons more things I can teach her. With Bruce's legs now looking pretty normal, I'm going to be getting back into the swing of things with the other horses. You guys may have noticed that I have been a little bit light on posting the last couple of weeks. I've been working on a special project that honestly did not have the outcome that I was hoping for. It's something that is going to need its own video, so I'll probably have that out later on this week. I've still been slowly chipping away at removing all the rocks from the arena. I was hoping to find a way that would make it more automated, but I am having to hand pick it, so it's taking a lot longer than I expected. As far as the layout for the horse pens go, I've been changing my mind quite a lot. I want them to flow nicely so I don't have to walk around too much when I'm getting the horses ready to be ridden. It's going to have to be an area where we can easily run the water and electricity. There also needs to be soft enough ground that I can drill post holes to put up shelters and fencing. Pretty much everyone around here has warned me about the sheer amount of rocks that are underground. I am pretty picky about how permanent fencing looks, and if I have a zigzaggy fence, it is going to drive me crazy. I talked to my husband about putting up a jackleg fence, which you don't have to drill any holes for. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to find anyone who has that anywhere close to this area. In Montana, there are a lot of lodgepole pines, so it was really easy to source that kind of fencing. I can always put up panels like this and have it be permanent fencing, but I would prefer something that is a little bit nicer to look at. I was really hoping to find a source for cedar posts with the bark on that looks pretty natural, and then I was going to put some continuous fencing up. After I got Sparkler situated for the day, I went inside and I took probably the best nap I've ever had. I woke up feeling refreshed, and I did a little bit more planning for the horses' permanent pens. By the time I was ready to be outside again, it was time for dinner.
You hungry? Ivar.
It was nice to have a little bit of a break to kind of recharge and regroup for the coming week. It seems like everything is finally falling into place. The pasture restoration hasn't gone to plan, but I've kind of put it in the back of my mind because there's really not too much I can do about it this year. It's only going to get hotter for July and August, so any plans I have to start new seed have pretty much flown out the window. I've seen a pretty significant uptick in the amount of flies that are around here, so I bought a few little solar powered zappers for Prim and Bruce's pen. Everywhere else they aren't too bad because there's not an enclosed space.
It's gonna zap your whiskers. Pretty boy. Oh, you have more teeth? Let's see.
While I was giving
So
Bruce his
cute,
evening
Brucey.
scratches, I noticed that he did indeed have some new teeth coming in. It
So
makes a lot
cute,
more sense now why he was being a little bit extra nippy. You guys only get to see a little snippet of what I've been doing around here. Some days it's nice not to have to worry about filming everything. I spent a little bit more time in the garden and ended up smashing some of my zucchini and tomato plants while I erected a trellis. I think they're going to bounce back, and I did harvest a few tiny zucchinis to eat this evening.
Baby one. Huckleberry. Brucey. Let's go, buddy. I'm coming, Zig. Come on, Huckleberry. Nigel, get your food. I'm coming.
I worked pretty hard for a very long time just to have my own place. I do think I maybe underestimated the amount of time it would take to get this new property set up. The arena is shaping up, and once we have the well in, the water lines run, and all of the permanent dry lots set up, I'll be able to spend so much more time with the horses. Most of them are perfectly happy with what is going on right now, but a few of them are going to be really excited to get back into work. Thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned for the next video.
Nigel, come on. I just slap. Come on.